Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning into the Locker Room today. I'm Alan Locher, and I grew up watching As the World Turns and Guiding Light. I joined the PR department there in 1997 and remained working on both shows for 13 years before they went off the air. As I was stuck home in quarantine, I was thinking about how much I was missing my Springfield family, and thought some of you might be feeling the same way too. To be honest, we debated doing this show today with all that's going on in the world, but I truly hope that seeing the Cooper family today would bring some comfort to all of you. So let's say hello to the Cooper family and let's get started. We have Justin Deas, who played Buzz Cooper, Frank Dicopoulos, Frank Cooper, John Driscoll, Coop, and Beth Ehlers, Harley Davidson Cooper, and Fiona Hutchison, Jenna Bradshaw. Let's say hello to everybody. Justin, Fiona,
Hi.
Beth, Frank,
hello,
and John. How's everybody doing?
Good.
Wow. This is
We're ready
awesome.
for the kick line now.
Yeah.
It is a true family reunion.
Yes, it is.
It is.
Oh my goodness. Hey,
It's
Justin.
so good to see everyone. I know.
Justin.
We have to do the wave.
Yeah. Yeah. John got married. Congratulations.
I
brother.
did.
Congratulations!
I know.
He's also got other news.
I do. I actually am expecting my first child. We are expecting our first child here in a couple months. So that's some exciting news as well. So, my God.
Wow.
Wait a minute. Let me see your stomach.
Congratulations.
Where? Yeah. Right. I know. It's a sympathy weight, and yes, it does. It is a real thing. You do put it on. So, well, funny enough about that. It's as soon as I found out, I was just thinking about like the road and where we come to. I remember rehearsing scenes with Justin, and in between running his lines. And Justin, I know I'm going to keep it pretty brief here, but I remember you giving me stories and like pointers. Oh, when you have a son one day, or when you have a daughter one day. Yeah. You're like, oh, this is what we're doing right now, and what do you think and stuff like that, and just kind of picking my brain a little bit. And I'm like, well, I don't know, I'm not there yet, but we'll see. Well, fast forward, and now it's my turn. So I'm like, oh crap, what did we talk about?
Hey, do you know what Justin did for me? Justin, do you remember this? When Olivia was born, and you asked me what we were going to name her, and I told you it was Olivia. And you know what this guy did? Justin goes and Shakespeare, right? Do you remember that?
12th Night.
12th Night, and you gave me a copy of 12th Night, and you opened it up and showed me what it was about Olivia, and I was like, what a class man! What a great guy! What a great that meant so much to me. So John, that triggered. So thank you for that.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of kids,
Go ahead.
Yeah, speaking of kids, Justin is godfather to one of Fiona's, right?
Yes.
Absolutely.
To Trevor.
Oh, to Trevor. Oh,
Trevor was baby Rocky. If I can show this, there he is in the little duck outfit.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Unbelievable.
And
He's not
did
a
both
duck
of your
anymore.
did they both just graduate, Fiona?
They did just both graduate, and I'm just looking for a shot. I don't know if this is going to be big enough. It's hard to, I'm trying to do the electronic thing here.
a little higher.
Wow.
Yeah, right, like that.
There you go. Perfect.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
There you go.
There they go. All right. Sorry about that. It's pet pictures and baby pictures. All right, we're done with that.
Well, no, Beth, how are Hank and Will doing?
Hank and Will are 18 and 21, and
Wait a minute, you're that old? You're that old?
I am that old. Believe me, it does not escape me. They're frustrated because they're yanked out of school and feeling kind of adrift, but they're good. They're great. Beautiful.
Yeah, it's
smart,
a challenging
kind.
time, isn't it, Beth? Yeah, it's very challenging.
Sure, it's for everyone.
I remember when you, I think when you were pregnant, probably with both.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's great. Gaining all that weight on camera, right, Fee? Just love that.
And we got to see Joe a minute ago. How are Sam and Joe doing, Justin?
Joe's down here with us, and Sam's up. He's living with a veterinarian. No, they didn't meet that way. They, but she's a good vet. As a matter of fact, maybe the weasel will be treated by her one day. I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right.
John, I have something to say to John, though.
Oh God.
When he left the show, we just done a whole bunch of scenes, and I couldn't. They asked me to say something, and I said I couldn't say. I said he knows how I feel about it, but I can't tell you how much I think about that. Those last things. He was so brilliant in these scenes.
I didn't have any lines. I know. I was brilliant.
He was so. Oh, he was. And talk about helping people. We did one time. We did a scene washing dishes, and I was like doing some really bad acting. I don't know what was on my mind. And he looked at me a little bit like I was sick, and then he figured a way out of it. But the guy is he's wonderful.
But Justin, you're right. I just watched Coop's death, and I watched Jenna's, and I just watched Jenna's death. I mean, talk about having some pretty hard scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, losing Fiona and losing John must have been really tough playing those on air.
Well, something I thought about, guys, and tell me if you think this is true. Now, it's only on soap operas and only on one relationship, and that's parents to children. You get lost in it. It's only on this. I've done stage a lot. I've done like in movies, stuff like that. But you have your girlfriend and everything like that, and I'm lucky to be able to kiss Fiona a couple times. But you don't get lost in anything. You don't get lost in like your biggest enemies or your good friends backstage. But somehow your kids.
Yeah.
And it's only in soap operas that's ever happened. I don't know. Do you guys think that?
I think it's the day to day. It's the art imitating life or life imitating art that tends to, sometimes the lines actually do blur. I mean, they do.
You were doing art behind my back?
I was doing all kinds of things behind your back.
Hey, you know what, Alan, what we talked about, which I'm really proud of, very proud of, is that when the show, eventually went off the air, the Coopers were the largest family on the show. We had Nadine, which played my mom, Buzz's wife, and we had Sonia Satra, who played Lucy. We had Daisy, huge, and with Elaine, and then that whole extended family, and then Mallet and Marina. I mean, it was massive.
Frank, are you off the show now?
Never change.
Oh my God, that is great.
Hey, Alan. Years and years ago, Jill Laurie Hurst brought me. Jill Farron Phelps. Jill Laurie Hurst was our writer. God bless her. We love her. But Jill Farron Phelps brought me in the office and said, "I'm bringing you a daddy. I'm like, awesome, because Beth and I were really, I loved Beth. I couldn't have a better sister in the world. Beth was the ultimate, and it was amazing. So she goes, "You're just gonna have to trust me. You're going to love him. He is brilliant. He is amazing, and he was all that and more."
No.
I mean,
I came up, first thing he said to me was, I'm going to be a boxer on this show, and you can be my trainer.
But Justin and I used to do practical jokes, and I loved getting him on set. But my
God, he was the worst. For going on a show new, they'd be going he'd be backstage, and he'd be ready for things. He said, "Go, go, go!" And you'd run along like this. Shit.
It's true.
A million things.
I used to tie Justin.
I used to tie my apron to like chairs and stuff like that.
Yes, I remember that.
I remember that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, really. I mean, we
Frank.
The makeup guy one time crazy glued all the stuff in his dressing room to his desk to get him back.
Yeah,
remember that.
There was one time where I was in my dressing room. There was a knock on the door, and all of a sudden I opened up the door, and Justin was there with an entire garbage can full of water, and he doused me from head to toe.
And he sits there like Joan of Arc, like, what is this?
Oh my God!
Speaking of.
Justin, do you remember there were these scenes where the costume people decided to put me in a shirt, but it connected it was a leotard. Really, it wasn't really a shirt. We discovered that you discovered it wasn't a shirt that could pull up, and I discovered, woo!
Oh,
I have to be by myself for a little while. I'll be back.
That's
I'll think about that until I die.
That's
Fiona.
when the
Thank you.
costume may malfunction on you.
Well, I can tell you that the fans are really excited that you all are here today. I actually was on Twitter, and a fan, Louisa, said she actually couldn't make it today because she was out protesting. And I told her I would say hello to all of you from Louisa. And let's all give a wave to Louisa.
Hi, Louisa.
Speaking of Justin and Frank, I mean, you mentioned when Justin came on and Beth. I mean, Frank, you were first. But,
Yep.
Justin, you go first. Do you remember your first day at Guiding Light?
Oh yeah, I remember Beth saying, "Oh, here he is. He's the executive producer's boyfriend."
Oh my
Okay,
God. Oh my!
I don't remember that.
I know the employment line is, guys. It's all right.
Oh my God!
Where did
Is
I
that
get
what-
that impression from?
Holy!
I have no idea, darling.
Oh my
Power
God!
of sorts.
Somebody was spreading telephone rumors around, I guess.
Yes.
Oh
No,
man!
they
That's
were great. They were
I just
awesome.
remember
Beth is
Justin
fantastic
was-
talent. So it's
Oh
just
my
great.
God, no, Justin was just, I had never experienced someone who had worked out every detail of the scene and was doing everything all the time. I mean, it was just an acting class working with Justin Deas. It really was.
It would take me 80 days to get the script down. This man could pick it up, flip through it in 20 seconds, and have the whole show down.
I don't know who they're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I did a lot.
I'm not sure I know what you're talking about, because every time I got on camera with Justin, I was like, I better hold on for the ride because I have no idea where we're
An
going.
entire
I believe
They'll
it.
get me through scenes. That's why they're the. as
I
funny
loved
as
every
they are,
second
no.
of it.
Justin,
Beth.
one show was written for Justin, and he was the entire script. He had close to 90 pages of dialogue,
I
Mm.
remember
and
that.
that was out of control. That was totally insane, and he killed
It was.
it. He
You could-
killed it.
You could actually see our viewers jumping out of windows. We would lose them. The TV cube was just going like this.
Good time.
Oh, that's hysterical. Oh,
Hey,
my
Beth,
God.
speaking of first days, do you remember yours?
Oh.
Did I give birth on my very first day, or
Yeah,
certainly
yeah. Oh,
very
my-
near to it?
Yeah.
Very near to it.
Yep.
In
I
the
think I
back
had
of a
maybe-
car.
Right.
In the
I think
back
I
of
had
a
maybe
car.
one or two brief things where you kind of saw this girl, and then my real intro was maybe the third day where I gave birth. And
we-
obviously,
oh my God.
having never given birth, I was flailing. I was asking the camera guys, asking the sound guys, like, what did your wife do? What was it like? I don't think I came near to the reality of it.
Beth is the quintessential Harley. I mean, she
Oh, thank
played it so brilliantly. I
Mhm.
could not have had a better sister and partner. I swear to God, she was just awesome. And Justin, John, I mean, everybody. Fiona added that sense of mystique and class.
Hey,
Brilliant.
I'm gonna interrupt Frank for a minute. Justin, can you just speak up when you're speaking, because I think some people are having a harder time hearing you. And that comes from Jill Laurie. Johnny, do you remember?
Oh, Jilly.
I do.
Hi, Jilly.
I asked her because some fans were commenting that they were having trouble hearing. Johnny, do you remember your first day?
I do remember my first day. It was quick. I think it was just like a one scene kind of situation, and it was I believe Buzz was in the hospital, and I think Frank or Harley had called, and I was coming back from England, and all of a sudden I just appear in the doorway, and I had one scene, and I was terrified, and I think I tried to ask for advice from Frank. And you gave me some, and then one of the boom guys said, whatever he said, don't do that.
Don't listen to it.
So I think that was like him trying to sort it out. Is he really going to do it? And so no. So I went there and I sat at the door and I just like, I have no idea what's about to happen, but I'm going to say some words and hopefully they say, good, print, check the gate, we're moving on.
It was probably Robbie Primrose who said, "Don't do it."
Oh,
I was
Exactly.
God.
it was crazy. No, but it was so much fun. But from that moment on, and I keep saying this, and with all the different projects that, for me personally, that I had the pleasure of being a part of, the one that I really enjoyed the most, where it was the fastest pace, the most energetic, the craziest, but just brought home a real sense of the craft itself, of acting, of family, of these wild emotions, was working on Guiding Light. And it was living in New York. It was working in New York. It was working with these actors, and it was talking with everyone that they've got these side projects going on. It was testing stuff out with the different characters besides what we had to do. And so it was just this energy that wouldn't let you slow down. Like you constantly kept like, let's try this. Let's work this out. Okay, that didn't work. Let's do this. So creatively, I felt like I was almost at my apex at that point. Not just from what I was doing, but with everybody else. I never felt like I was depleted or discharged of creativity or energy. It really was a joy going into work every single day.
Yeah, it really
So
was.
I loved it.
Daytime, you either can appreciate that pace and it works for your temperament and your personality, or you can get very overwhelmed by it. I agree with you, John. Like I like daytime. I like a new script every day. I like that development of the character over a long period of time, that arc, that the family, you get to have so many people that you're interacting with and really flesh out this person. I found daytime so gratifying. I love it.
You
I
really
agree with you,
are
Beth.
living. You all lived someone's life. I mean,
Yes.
you're playing those characters, but you lived. If you look, especially, Frank, Justin, and Beth especially had the longest arc on the show. What you if I asked you, like, I'm sure some questions you may not even remember. You know what I mean? Like, it's like our lives. You don't remember everything that happens in your life because there's just so much.
Yeah.
But you do. You play these incredible characters. Fiona, do you remember your first day? Was it a scene with Justin or?
I do remember my first day, and I remember the first scene I did with Justin. The first day, I crawled through a window in 5-inch black heels as a cat burglar.
Right. I remember that.
Yeah,
I remember
really
that.
broke my back. But other than that, I do
Wow.
remember that. And Jill Farrenfels was the producer at the time. She said, we can offer you two different roles. One, you have to do a test with various different actors, and CBS has to approve you. And the other one, I can just start you tomorrow, and you'll be a jewel thief, and who the hell knows where that's going to go. And I said, which one has to cry? She said, the 3-year contract. I said, I'll take the jewel thief. And anyway, it turned into longer than a couple of months, I'm very thrilled to say. And the first scene I remember with Justin, they had a car, right? I had a flat tire, and you came to my rescue to fix that flat
God, that's
tire.
right. Oh,
And that
that's
was really a delightful scene, because it was one of those slow-moving scenes where two characters and two actors get to meet themselves for the first time. Because I don't know, Justin, I don't think we got to rehearse necessarily. I'm sure I was running around one end of the building and you were running around the other end of the building, but I remember meeting you for the first time on camera, and it was so exciting. It was really exciting. The one of the things. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I just want to say, because I've had a day where we've done the award shows at the school that I work at and run the performing arts for, York Preparatory School on the Upper West Side. And I just have to do a shout out to a couple of students who won tremendous awards today that are watching and tuning in now. And I want them to know that everything that we're talking about here, being part of a family and being part of these characters that evolve over time, literally for 8 years, I've been part of these students' lives, and I feel as though I've played a part in their life. So even though I'm not acting a different role, I guess I'm Fiona for the first time, but I have managed to be part of their lives, and it's been tremendously exciting. It really is a bit like going to Guiding Light every day, or wherever. You go to the school, you go to the environment, the set, and you never know what's coming next. The day is never the same, just the same on the soaps. No 2 days were ever the same.
Hey,
So-
you know what? Yep, you're right, absolutely right. You know, Alan, it all trickles down from the top, from executive producers to head writers and writers and producers. We were really blessed. We really were a totally legit, happy, cohesive. It was a wonderful family. A wonderful family. And that's why it worked. It really worked. I mean, you know, I was on 22 years, so went through a number of executive producers, head writers, you know, just
and they created a family around you.
yeah, they did. Yeah, they really did.
All of this.
Yeah, and recently there was a fan from Italy that posted on Facebook the Francolini wedding, and the entire wedding. I got to see it again, and the directors won the Emmy for it for directing. And Justin, that's where you came in, and I'm going to tell you, your scenes with Beth not only made me just like get well up with tears, it gave me goosebumps. I was like, that was just so brilliant. In the diner, the two of you seeing each other for the first time was just gripping. I mean, it blew me away how
well. And you know, Frank, it's interesting because they, over the arc of that relationship, wanted Harley and her dad to be, you know, everything was okay. I forgive you, Dad. And Justin and I would not let it go. We were like, nope, she's never going to forgive him. She will never forgive him. And thank you for allowing me to do that, because I didn't want to.
Who could stop?
I didn't want to.
who could stop you?
Yeah, I just don't think somebody would ever get over something like that, you know? And I just think it made for such a tension in our relationship, and a deep love, but I just think it made it more interesting and more dynamic.
Yeah.
To have that always there.
Well, that's also the passion you all have for the characters you play. Back to sort of Fiona talking about the students. For each of you, I know, Beth, you're doing something different, and John, and Fiona, you're doing something different. But for each of you, what was the biggest influence or that steered you to become an actor? Was it, you know, somebody you grew up watching, or something you basically were doing out of the womb? Beth, you want to go first?
I think I actually. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, Beth. Sorry.
I was actually kind of discovered. Sorry. I was doing a play in the church where I was growing up, and somebody heard about this very precocious little girl. Like when my brothers and sisters watched cartoons, I would be in my parents' room watching black and white movies. And so when I was doing this play, I sort of thought she'd be kind of Mae Westy, and I had a lot of sass. And some agent approached my parents one night and said, "She's a natural. You should sign her up." And I kind of just, you know, it happened to me. I didn't really seek it out, and I've gone in and out of it obviously through my life. I come and go with it, but yeah, it wasn't ever something that I sought out so much.
And Fiona, you were going to say?
I came to Guiding Light from One Life to Live, and then before that I was doing a lot of film and theater, and before that I was dancing. So I think I've been performing since I was a young girl in the arena. But, you know, it wasn't as though I had stars in my eyes and I wanted to be rich and famous. It was more that it was a form of expression. I didn't feel comfortable just talking to people. I felt a little self-conscious, and I think that I don't think my students would believe this right now because I stand in front of many of them and I don't stop talking. But at the time when I was their age, I was reserved and quiet and shy, and I found that a way that I could have fun and express myself was through other characters, obviously, you know, get away from who I am. And I didn't know enough to know that that's what it was that I was loving so much. But now that I reflect back on it, and that's what I share with my students, I say, please, you know, take on a character. You're going to have so much more fun than being yourself.
And Johnny, you?
For me personally, it was the most positive outlet to release any emotion that you could possibly have. So I did not grow up specifically in an arts household. There was an appreciation for the arts, but mostly music. but it was kind of one of those situations where once you got to like high school, it's like, okay, let's just focus on what real life is going to entail for you. And it was kind of going that way. So I was actually the youngest of three. And so for me, I just got lucky. One thing led to getting discovered for modeling, and then modeling turned into TV film while I was in college. But a lot of those emotions that, as you're a teenager, you're coming into your 20s. For me, I got involved with it, and I was like, you know what, I really like this. I like the fact that if you have to cry, you can find a scene for it. If you're angry, you could find a monologue for it. If you're whatever the case is. And I realized that we're such an eclectic mix of people in theater and drama. I was like, you know what, this is actually really, really cool. And it was a release. It was very, cathartic for me. And I was like, you know what, I really do kind of want to make this a part of my life, but I didn't know how. And I was just lucky that I had people along the way that kind of helped pull me along or open the door that allowed me to come up to New York. And then from New York, it was just auditioning, and I had the people pushing me. And I was just, by the grace of God, that I was able to land on a show that actually embraced that and welcomed that. And it wasn't about, oh, my agent is doing this, and oh, I've got a commercial for shoot for this, and it wasn't about like all the fluff stuff. It was about the art. It was about creating the scene. It was creating the environment that would allow you to explore. And so that's how it started. It was a release, and it was the best possible choice I could have made. And I was so happy, and no regrets ever with any of it. And like I said, I'm so glad that we can actually have this little powwow and get back together and talk about it. I mean, yes, it's been over 10 years, but at the same time, in looking at each one of your faces, it almost seems like it was yesterday. And I remember the studio, whether it was you're on 44th Street or you were over on 10th Avenue. And it's just such a walk down memory lane. There's so many emotions and there's so many stories just listening to them that are coming back that I didn't remember, or I had to suppress because of whatever. Let me just tell you, I had to do so many push-ups because of every single one of you. When they found out what my history was going into the military, they were like, oh yeah, you were so-and-so's brother. I was like, yeah. They're like, drop, just get down. Just get down. And so I was like, you know what, just focus on the good times, and these too shall pass, and whatnot. But like I said, it's just such a great walk down memory lane, remembering all of this stuff. So I'm very thankful to be a part of this with all of you guys right now.
So John, as the chief of police of Springfield, give me 10 right now, bud.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Damn it. All right.
And Justin, what started you out acting?
Well, I was in high school, and I saw my NBA career fading because I I've been listening to like records for a long time, for like Shakespeare records, Feel Good, Olivier, Schofield, and I never wanted to be an actor ever. And a kid in high school was going to go to RADA, Royal Academy of Dramatic Arts, and he got hit by a truck.
Oh,
they needed somebody. And I remember that opening night, I was hoping somebody would drop out of my head to injure me severely so I'd have an honorable way out. It was terrifying.
Oh my
wow.
God.
Holy smokes.
Here I am.
How much did you pay that truck driver?
Good old Frank.
Actually, I didn't go to the guy's funeral. The entire school got to go to his funeral if he wanted to, but he tried to steal my girlfriend away from me, so I didn't go to his funeral. I was the only guy in class that whole time. So.
And Frank, yourself? It was modeling.
I was dancing at Chippendales, and
okay. All right, here we go.
Really?
No.
Okay.
Oh.
No.
Frank, are you seeing this, Frank?
Oh my God. Alan, I am very afraid right now.
That's a good one, Alan.
Perfect. That's perfect.
I actually was in Houston, Texas, and just started modeling, and it led to commercials. It was something I never thought I would do in a million years, ever. And then a screen test for Chips came into Houston, and I screen tested, and they said, move out to California, you'll work. And I did some episodics out there, and then I met Betty Ray, and thank God for Betty Ray. And
Betty Ray, yes.
Flew me to New York and screen tested, and the rest is history. Yeah, but I never thought in a million years I would ever be an actor, ever. I was like the class clown at school. I loved doing practical jokes. I mean, I always liked.
Really?
Oh, big time. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Shocking.
It was
No.
you and Mark Derwin. Remember you and Mark?
Oh man.
You were so much trouble, the two of you.
I still talk.
Yeah.
I still talk to Mark, and
How's he doing?
He's doing great. He's still acting.
He's doing this next week with
Right.
Kimberly Sims, who sends you, Beth, a virtual hug. She misses you immensely.
Oh, my girl.
Oh.
Kimbo.
She misses you a lot. Do you guys have any, Justin, do you have a Betty Ray story?
Well, she didn't actually cast me, so she was smart. But she was a classic lady.
I remember a Betty Ray story.
She was in Judith Anderson's Medea. And Judith Anderson, she described how Judith Anderson is, when they described how Jason was killed, died, Judith Anderson had an orgasm on stage, which we couldn't do in those times. So she described that to me. So Betty Ray had a half-hour conversation describing a female orgasm to me, which sticks with me to this day. Now there's Fiona, and geez, I have so much to do tonight.
Oh,
I'm glad I could be of service to you, Justin.
Oh God! Wow!
Fiona, what's your Betty Ray story?
Yeah.
My Betty Ray story, well, I'm so glad that things have come as far as they have in education and all the different learners, because I, growing up, was dyslexic, and I can say was because when you are dyslexic, if you are taught the right way, you don't have to worry about it anymore. And that's something that education has really got a hold of these days. But when I was growing up, nobody knew. They just, thought you were stupid and dumb. I was not a good reader. So Betty Ray was my first audition in New York. And she handed me a script. I met her. I'd just done a film, and I met her, and she said, "Here, why don't you take a look at this and come back in?" And I mean, my heart sank, because how do I suddenly memorize it? Because you see, I don't like to sight read, or back then I certainly didn't like to sight read. I'm better at it now. And I went outside, and I said to the girl sitting at the desk, I said, "Could you read this with me?" And she looked at me. She goes, "All right." And she started to roll. And I said, "Actually, no, what I mean is, could you read it to me?" And she said, "What do you mean read it to you?" I said, "Can you read both sides so I can hear it?" And so she did. And that's how I memorized the scene, so that I could go back in, and I heard it and I saw it. You see, I had to see it and hear it at the same time, just in case there are any words that trip me up. I went back in.
It's interesting that you say that, Fee, because
But it was
so many
terrifying
actors.
moment.
Don't you think that so many actors are either dyslexic or have ADD or some processing disorder, and that's how they end up getting into this creative field? And
or
I'll tell you,
alternate
there were
learning.
days.
I mean, it's just a different role.
There were days that I was working on set, and it was like,
it's a different way of
dyslexia, ADHD, and it was like herding cats with these actors some days. Focus, everyone, focus.
Yeah, so that's the biggest thing that I try to help everybody with. It really doesn't matter how you get there. There's many different roads, and it doesn't matter. It's in a technical side of things, and as long as you take care of the technical side, of which, good God, look at all of us learning all this technical side to do with all of this now. I mean, I didn't know this 10 years ago, so you just have to keep learning. But
everybody did it. Everybody's here. Hey, Beth, I know a lot of fans are asking because they're missing you acting. But I want you to talk about your, to me, I think it's a huge accomplishment after Guiding Light, going back to school, getting your degree, and what you're doing now.
It's funny. I have a lot of my friends from work are watching right now. So I'm getting a big shout out.
That's great.
Yeah, I went back to school and I got my degree in political science, and I actually got a job before I even graduated. I had done an internship under Law and Public Safety in the Attorney General's office, the Division of Consumer Affairs. And then they hired me before I even graduated. And then I heard about this opening in a legislator's office, a senator's office. And I applied, and I was hired as his director of constituent services. And the governor appointed him as commissioner to the Board of Public Utilities. And I said, I don't want to lose my job. Can I come with you? So he brought me along. And so there's 5 commissioners. He's one of the commissioners, and each has a confidential aide, and I'm the commissioner's confidential aide.
Well done, Beth. Well done.
That's amazing. But Beth, Evelyn Dowling says, I love working with you.
I love you, Evelyn. Yes, she's Commissioner Holden's administrative assistant. And I think Commissioner Holden might be watching right now. Hi, Commissioner.
Wow.
That's great. And John, you mentioned it briefly, but truly, thank you for your service to our country.
Yes, John, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
It was.
Tell us about it.
It was. I just had a wake up call. I grew up in a military household, and for me personally, I was out in Los Angeles, and I had an opportunity to really kind of look within inside and said, is this really what I want to do? What other important tasks do I want to accomplish in my life? I was watching TV, and I was seeing what was going on. I had a bunch of friends of mine back home, and I said, you know what, if I ever want to do this or make a change, it has to be right now. So I completely just went to the producers of the show that I was on. I said, look, I need to take some time off for myself. And they said, okay, that's fine. And so it worked out with the storyline. And so I came home, and 3 months later I signed a contract. I enlisted in the Army National Guard because my body was not going to do 20 years starting at 30. so I was like, let me do something different. So actually I came back, and I just passed my 8-year mark, and I have officially started. I've been accepted into the warrant officer program. So I'm actually training right now to go into and commission as an officer in the United States Army. So
wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. But wait, what is that?
John?
Thanks.
John, what does that mean? It's a warrant officer?
So warrant officer, real quick in a nutshell, basically you have your full grade officers, and then you have your enlisted. And in between those, you have subject matter experts in specific fields. So enlisted will go in, they'll either be a tanker, they'll be a mechanic, they'll be an IT person. So officers are generalists. So they'll be like signal or artillery or whatever, but in each one of those, they have individual separate areas, which is what the enlisted people do. So a warrant officer is in between the general officer and the enlisted, and they oversee a section, and they're the subject matter experts. So for me personally, I've gone into IT. So I do satellite uplinks, laptops, all that stuff like that. So right now I am in training to go ahead and commission as a warrant officer. So I will oversee a bunch of enlisted soldiers, and then I will also report to an officer, but also be commissioned myself. So it's a huge change. Everyone looked at me like saying, yeah, everyone was like, look, what did you do? They say, wait, you left acting to go into the military? And so I was like, yeah, the difference was though that I had so much fun. I learned a lot about myself. And in going in now, I realized that I knew why I was going in. I knew the things that I had seen, and I had grown up on an experience. And so it wasn't that I was going in, I had nothing better to do. It was, I was choosing to go in because I knew why I wanted to go in. I knew what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
John,
So it's been,
John, where are you going to be?
so right now, being National Guard, so I'm working for the state of Maryland. I report to the state of Maryland. I've already deployed once before. I'm getting ready to get deployed again here soon. And so, yeah, so I've got a lot of experience, seeing different aspects of, go ahead.
Deployed before the baby's born? Hopefully not.
Unfortunately not. I'm going to be deployed after the baby is born. So I'm going to be there for a little bit, and then I will be away for a while, and then I will come home. So that's something that my wife and I we're talking about right now, and we're just going to enjoy every moment that we have, and thank God for technology. So we'll still be able to keep in contact.
You can do this.
Yes. So I'm actually really lucky. I'm really lucky because, in all honesty, for the first year of the baby's life, I'm only going to have to do maybe 15% of the diaper changes. So I'm really lucky in that aspect. But I know as soon as I come home, it's going to be 100% of the diaper changes. So, but no. So,
well, that's amazing, John. Truly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
I think I had the same thing as you, John. I think it was this feeling very much of like, there's just more I want to do. I don't want this to be the only thing I ever do with my life. And I feel really grateful to be in public service and doing what we all do at BPU.
Beth, tell everybody what you're working on. You're doing some great stuff for the environment.
Well, the Board of Public Utilities in New Jersey, obviously it's a regulatory agency, and so it does regulating the utilities, and it also houses the clean energy program for the state of New Jersey. So,
thank goodness.
So we collectively, the BPU, are doing, moving forward. This Governor Phil Murphy, he ran on a platform of clean energy. And so this is what we're focusing on: offshore wind, developing our offshore wind program, expanding solar, electric vehicle, and charging throughout the state. That's what we're working on.
Well, you really are our guiding light, aren't you?
I will never have that body again.
Wow, that's awesome.
That was not photoshopped. I looked like that.
You did.
I'm very proud of you, Beth. We're headed for an electric car here. We're trying to get off the grid completely. So I support everything you're doing 100%.
Yeah, go away from fossil fuels. Yep.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So Beth, actually talk about that superhero. What do you remember about doing that?
I remember, Ellen had me doing some crazy stuff sometimes. That was one of the things where I was like, I'm going to be a what? But I remember mostly from that, watching it with my kids who were very little at the time.
I remember
and
they
when
were
I got
there.
Thrown back, they burst out crying. They were terrified.
But one of them
that
was
I had
there
been
with
hurt.
us. One of them was there with us for some of the shoot, because I just looked at some photographs.
Oh, were they on that set? Oh, okay.
They might have been there when we were shooting that photograph, actually.
They were there for the photo shoot. They were not when we were shooting the episode.
Yeah, maybe when you were shooting that.
Because
That's
we
funny.
watched the episode and then they both just burst out crying. They were so freaked out.
Justin, can you and Frank and Beth, Justin, you first, talk about Jean Carroll playing Nadine? What was
Jean was wonderful. It was so sad when she left, though, because it was a very confusing time. She was great.
Yeah.
She was.
That was another death for you.
Yeah.
No, that was another death for you when Nadine died.
I had
It's a Black Widow.
I had to identify my mother's body in a morgue, and I had to unzip the black bag.
Marion Crane killed her. Marion Crane, do you remember?
Right.
Oh God, Frank Beatty, right? Didn't he play
Frank Beatty
Marion?
killed her. Yeah, he played Marion Crane.
I
Sorry,
don't think
Justin.
I was on the show then. I don't think I was on the show then. Right? Hadn't I left when that happened?
You might have.
So.
I think I was off too, wasn't I? I don't remember.
I don't think I was there.
Sorry, Justin. Talk about Jean.
Jean was great. She was wonderful to work with. But I remember one time, this will put me on the Me Too thing, by the way, and so that'll be in. We were supposed to be going to a drive-in movie together. And so I had somebody get me a zucchini, and I put it in the popcorn.
Oh,
boy. She ate around the zucchini all the way through it, and she didn't notice it. God bless her.
I mean, my heart went out to
Really,
Oh my God.
I think she called her agent right after that. Jean was great.
Somebody get me a zucchini.
She climbs Kilimanjaro and stuff like that, you know?
Oh my God.
What do you remember, Beth, about Jean?
I just remember really enjoying that person as my mother because they were so different, Harley and her mom. And Jean made it so easy for me to just play everything that Harley needed to play with. Jean was not afraid to look very, very selfish. She was not afraid to look very, very irresponsible. I mean, she really, really embraced. She didn't try to turn her into the perfect mom ever. She let her be what that person was, and it allowed the actors around her to play what they needed to play. She was great. She never tried to make her into a heroine. She just was who mommy was. Harley always called her mommy.
Yep.
And I appreciated that she was generous enough to do that.
She was so fun to watch with you guys.
Yeah.
Such fun. Yes.
Yeah, she was absolutely terrific. She had so much life and energy, and she built such a wonderful character that was individual for each one of us. I mean, we all played, and she played us perfectly. And I really couldn't see any other mother, honestly.
Yeah.
And then she worked really well with Jordan Clark, Billy Lewis, that whole thing. And oh my God. Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Jeannie was great. Love her. Love her. In fact, when I was just out in California, we were just about to get together, and then that whole COVID thing broke, and quarantining and everything. So I was going to have the opportunity to see her.
Wow.
Aw.
So, but we
Is she
talked.
in California now?
She is. She's still with Jerry, and she's still acting. I think she's doing a web series now, and yep, she's doing well.
Good.
Wow. And Justin, talk about meeting Margaret at As the World Turns. What do you remember about that time at As the World Turns? So many fans are commenting. She hated you?
Hated me, loathed me. Oh my God, she couldn't stand me.
Oh, God.
She's in the next room, as a matter of fact.
Oh, trust me,
What happened?
fans have been asking where she is. Trust me, they want her to come in. But they loved Tom and Margot. I mean, what do you remember about playing him?
It was a lot of fun. It was, the soap opera stuff is so difficult. It's just, there's so many pages. I remember Samantha Edgar, they cast her in, she was a big star, I think just dropping off the B list. And so she was going to be on a soap opera. And they gave her the scripts, and she showed up on Monday and she said, so what are we doing now? And they said, this. And she said, well, how many days? And they said, today. And not everyone can do that. I mean, I've seen every one of these people do plus incredible acting work with that and doing all that in a day. And I would say it's impossible. All these people that we're looking at right now, they've had my mouths dropped open. I just went, oh my God, how can they do that? So Margaret, she's a natural. She's terrific. She's a wonderful actress.
I can remember so many times when, we'd be pushing for going to a lunch break and they didn't want to pay people overtime or a meal penalty. So they'd come out and they'd say, Beth, can you, maybe get this right in one take? And I'm like, it's a 4-page monologue. Yeah, we know you can do it. We know you can do it. And because I have this blue collar work ethic and I don't want to cause anybody trouble, I would invariably do it. I don't know if it'd be my best work, but I'd have it memorized and we'd get it done and there was no meal penalty. Moving on.
We lost Fiona.
Where did Beth go?
Fiona.
She just dropped out. She probably She probably just lost her.
There we go. And we're back.
I don't know what happened.
We're about to have the heavens are about to open. It's all black
never
cloud.
complain about it. Ever.
Wait, Justin, repeat. Fiona was talking. Sorry.
Here's what you complain about. They'd say, here's 1,000 pages. Here, do this and change it all and do it standing on your head. And she'd say, okay. Which made me want to shoot myself.
You mean they didn't ask you that?
No, I took her whining time though, and I used it myself.
Oh my God!
So you all have told so many incredible stories at Guiding Light. Can I ask you to choose something that stands out, a favorite to each of you, Johnny?
There's so many. I mean, there's so many stories and whatnot. But I think that one of the last ones that I really remember. I mean, there were, like I said, with all of us, we've all had some great ones. I remember Frank was like, you know what? Let's go grab a bite to eat, a quick drink, anything. It was like one of my last days on the show, and he's like, let's go across the street. We're just gonna grab a quick drink. And so we go there and we, go up to the bar and just grab just a quick drink, just to, toast and cheers, the past couple of years. And so all of a sudden, Justin comes walking in and he doesn't stay long. He comes in, he orders his drink and he just does a toast and a cheers. And we just, do that really quickly and just say a few, personal words to each other about, working together and what it meant. And that was it. And then just he had to take off. And Frank, you and I looked at each other and you were like, I don't remember the last time he actually came out and did that. And it meant a lot. And it was really quick. We had said all the things that we'd want to say working together over the past, 5 years that we'd worked together. And just that last moment, kind of like sealing the deal on everything. Okay, I'm going to move on with the next phases and step. How it started, the family coming together, and how it ended, the family having the last word together was probably one of the most memorable, and not because it was the last one, but because it was just really powerful. Not a lot had to be said, but it was just the moment of just the three of us, father, two sons, just having a drink together. And,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Johnny, when I spoke to Justin about doing this, what he said at the beginning, he basically said, I really want to say something to Johnny, which he did.
No.
So
it was great.
So,
it was like having a parent. It was like having a parent there. So being so far away from my family, and we were really close, but getting a chance to have that father-son relationship. Justin, you really did let me explore some of those conversations that I wanted to have with my dad, but I never really did, and hadn't. And so being able to explore that with you, all of you were really an extension from my family, because I think deep down that's what you want to have. You want to have that safe connection with the person that you're working with. Whether it's seeing Fiona and starting to cry, and it naturally was crying because it was my mom, the character's mom, and it was Frank, because God, he always talks so much crap behind my back, and I'm like, oh God, it was the brotherly relationship, and then having the older sister Beth, like, I don't even know where I'm screwing up here, and she's like, you really screwed this one up, didn't you? And I'm like, okay, I got it. But that was what it was, and that's what it meant.
I forgot your mother from heaven came to visit you.
Yeah. And it was almost the same situation. Like, you're about to have a child. What are you going to do? And I'm like, okay, I'm actually about to have a child. And I almost want to, after we finish this, I almost want to pick her brain. What am I supposed to do here? So
love them. Just love them.
Yes. Lots of it.
Well, you know what? Because he hates it when I do this. Absolutely hates it. But Justin was like the ultimate father. I mean, to both his sons, I have to tell you, just absolutely loves and adores his sons. And to see that and have him be my father, I know exactly what you're talking about, John.
Yeah.
Justin he's a sweetheart. He's the nicest, most intelligent, just best man that I know. And it was an honor. It was an absolute honor to have you as my dad, Justin. I want you to know that.
Oh my God.
You owe the money, Justin. You owe the money.
No, he knows that, and it was just a sheer pleasure and so much damn fun to act with him and play with him. I mean, and with all of you, truly, it was just that comes around once in a lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't remember any one day that meant it for me. I think it was the whole thing. I loved rehearsal hall. Justin was never a rehearsal hall fan, but I loved rehearsal hall because all we did was laugh our asses off.
Yeah.
It was Michael O'Leary making us laugh until we came. And I remember you just reminded me, John, when we'd have big weddings, if you didn't have a lot to do, if you were just sort of background while it was somebody else's wedding and you didn't have big things, we were making drinks down in Grant Alexander's dressing room and having so much fun. The makeup artist would be coming out going, I have to clean you up. Could you please stop laughing? We just had so much fun together. Actors are fun people. Yeah. They're just great people to be around. And that's the kind of stuff I remember. I remember the camaraderie. I remember, just a lot of inappropriate stuff, but who cares? We were all just really, friends.
A lot of zucchini.
A lot of zucchini kind of stuff. We just laughed. We laughed a lot. I don't think I'll ever laugh that hard again in my life as I laughed with the people at that show.
No, that's true. And Beth really and truly felt like my sister in real life. Honestly.
Oh yeah.
I mean, hands down. Unreal. Beth, I got to tell you, do you remember this in Cleveland when we did that appearance, and then I had my real sister, Penny, and we're downtown in the flats where all the restaurants and the clubs are. Yep. And I have Beth on one arm, and I have my real sister Penny on my other arm, and we're walking arm in arm down this strip where all the clubs are, and all of a sudden I said, "Hey, how much?" I hear someone yelling, "Hey, how much did you pay for them?"
I remember this.
I turned around and I was and Penny's going, bro, don't do anything. And Beth's like, Frank. No, I go.
I thought he was good. I thought you were going to punch him. I thought you were going to punch him in the face.
Don't worry, I got this. And I walked right up to the guy, and he was surrounded by a bunch of people. And I walked right up to him. I said, "Excuse me." I said, "This is my sister, and this is my sister. They're my sisters." And all of a sudden, I hear, "Holy shit! It's Frank Cooper." The guy realized who I was, and then the girls around that were standing with him turned around and he said, "You're an idiot. That's Frank Cooper. Or you said that to Frank Cooper." Like, it was unbelievable. Do you remember that, Beth?
I remember that. I've never seen you angry like that before, because that's not his personality. Frank is the most easygoing, friendly, fun, affable guy you'd ever want to know. And he went white. He was so angry.
And Frank, you worked with both your daughter and your wife on Guiding Light.
Taya came on. She was a setup.
A blind date, right?
Blind date. She was a blind date, and that was probably one of the most fun times. Justin, remember that food fight that we had? John, you were there, and Beth, you were there. You remember that?
I remember it.
And and she worked with Rick Hurst, and then Olivia came on and played Maureen Reardon. She was Maeve Kincaid's and Kurt McKinney's daughter. Yeah. And Olivia was starting to work more and more, and then unfortunately the show went off the air. But it was awesome having there. Taya, we had so much fun together, and Olivia, it was, who gets to do that? So it was awesome. And I really appreciated Guiding Light, having that opportunity to do that with them. So, yeah.
And Justin and Fiona, do you remember what you thought of each other when you first met?
I was nuts about her. Still am. She's just
They
great.
had unbelievable chemistry.
Really lucky.
They had
really
unbelievable chemistry.
Yep.
Agreed. Amazing.
I mean, she could take it. It was so easy. She made everything so bloody easy. She could just do anything at a drop of a hat.
Fearless. Fiona was a fearless actress.
Oh my God. I just had my
You were.
It keeps, going in and out because we have major storms happening outside.
Yeah.
Did you ask me a question? I'm sorry. Could you say it again?
Sure. I said, what did you and Justin think of each other? And he said he was smitten from the get-go.
Yeah. No, well, yeah. No, we were. There was an energy, and I go back to that first scene where he came to rescue Jenna and to fix the flat tire. And I thought to myself, Jesus Christ, this actor's got some energy. I mean, I was thinking that while I was trying to say the words, whatever the words were, I was looking at him in third person. I was acting with him as Jenna, and I was looking at him as Fiona, going, this is going to be a ride. This is going to be fun.
Do you remember a scene between the two of you? It was one of those, I was off camera waiting to do my next scene. So I was standing next to the cameraman watching you two. And you were sitting across from each other in the diner, and you were flirting very heavily with, in the characters together. And then Fiona, I don't think it was in the script. You jumped up onto the table.
Yeah.
And slid across the table and grabbed him and started kissing him.
I remember.
And I was like, it wasn't in the script. And I was
I know.
wow, was that passionate? It was so sexy and so great.
You're
and
very
so spontaneous.
kind. You're very kind. I often got little notes from the writers and producers that said, when we write the scenes with you and Justin, what we don't write is what we want you to do.
Right.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
That's perfect.
That's where
I'm going to keep you guys for a few minutes more, but John has to leave us. I knew that. So we're going to say,
I do.
Thank you, Johnny.
Be careful, John.
Thank you guys so much. Let me just quickly say, it is such a pleasure and it is such a joy. You have no idea what this has done for me. Like, it just internally rejuvenating me to see you guys after so long. It's like a part of my life that I've had to kind of close for the time being, to open that back up again, and to know that so many people that were a part of our life as we worked, we called it work, but it was really playtime. It means so much to me, and I love every single one of you, and I've missed you guys so much. Thank you, Alan, for bringing us all together and for allowing us to have this moment. This is something that I'm sure some of my coworkers are watching as well, because they found out about it, and I'm sure I'll hear about it tomorrow. But thank you for everything, and it's so good to talk to you guys, and I hope we can go ahead and talk again real soon.
John, stay safe. Stay safe.
Stay
safe.
safe.
Stay safe.
I will. You guys, love you guys so much.
Love you.
You be well.
Thank you guys.
Hey,
I'll talk to you guys
Bye,
soon.
John. Be careful.
Bye, John. Hey, Beth, I'd be remiss not asking, all the men at Guiding Light, there really wasn't a male that you worked with that Harley and Gus, Philip, Mallet, Alan Michael, each one of them worked.
Josh.
Josh,
yes.
correct. Yes,
Yeah.
when Reva Bud, when she went off the bridge.
Yeah.
Every single one of them worked. How does that feel as an actress? I mean, that's got to feel pretty special to know. I mean, because part of that is, half of it is you. And that, you know, it's really an amazing testament to what you bring to Harley.
I don't know why. I think for me, I always tried to find something about the person to fall in love with. You know, I would just find that one thing about the person that I would fall in love with, and I would just try to, you know, follow that. I don't know why they all worked so well. You know, certainly in the end, it was Ricky. Ricky was, for me, he was her true love, really her true love. We were just so close to one another as actors and friends. And, you know, that was a great experience. And obviously it was at the end, so it's what I remember the most.
Mm-hmm.
Really enjoyed working with Robert Newman too. Robert and I had a really, really fun time together. I don't know. I love falling in love is fun. Falling in love is fun.
I know why it worked. I'll tell you, because having worked opposite you and working with you first thing in the morning when I had Trevor in the baby Bjorn with the legs hanging down, and you came over to me and you said, he's a sloth. And and it's your honesty, and it's the fact that you listen. You're a performer who listens, and I think that's why everybody works so well with you.
Oh my gosh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Which I should think you do very, very well in the field that you're in, because you're probably having to listen to an awful lot of information and disseminate it, and before you do what you need to do. But the fact that you're a good listener, I'm glad you're listening.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, there's some stuff that the same skill sets that apply very well. But I think, isn't that acting though? Isn't that acting listening and then responding?
Not everybody does it. Justin does it. Frank, you do it. But I mean, I've worked with many people on other shows I shall not name, and that's not necessarily the person you do. In fact, what they do is they talk and then they listen to see if perhaps they should still be talking.
Oh my God, you're so right. You are so right.
I said it.
And the actors that always try to win the scene, and you're like, why do you have to win every scene?
Yeah, no.
Why is it a competition? Can we just act with one another, please? Yes.
I mean, I know I just said it with Beth, but Beth did work with all those men, but all of your things worked. I mean, Justin, at the end, you and Tina Sloan, people loved Buzz and Lillian together.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
Tina.
Yeah, that was
Tina.
terrific.
Yeah, I mean, people loved it.
Yeah, I liked it too.
You know, Frank.
I mean, as much as I liked our stuff together.
Did you have fun working with Tina?
Oh God, I love Tina. Yeah, Tina's a great lady. Wonderful actress and a great lady. Just terrific.
She's a hoot.
Yeah.
And talk about your friendships with Ron and Marge, Justin. I know you were very close with Marge.
Marge is like one of the most courageous people I've ever talked to, and she actually gave me the best acting advice ever. But unfortunately, it was too late for me. But she said, she was talking about something. She said, "Well, when you watch yourself," I said, "I never watch myself. I can't take it. It's horrible."
Oh.
And she said, "Well, how do you expect to improve?" Oh my God!
Wow!
I'd say that's one of the best statements I've heard yet.
Wow.
She just,
that is the best.
She had kids dying when she was on there. She had tremendous things happening to her body and everything, and she never complained. She was so bloody strong. She was just great.
Yep.
And Tina, is that the other one?
Yep.
Ron Raines.
Ron's a dear friend. I love him.
I do too.
We still talk. Yeah, Ron's he's one of the greatest singers I've ever heard in my life.
Oh yeah.
Back when, It was,
He's
it
a
was
tremendous
funny,
stage actor. Yeah.
one time
And Beth, you got to work with
with
Go ahead.
Grant with Ron and Grant, and Ron refused to sing on the show, and Grant, who has a body like God, refused to take off his shirt in the show. So of course the three of us are doing the scene together, and they have me with my shirt off singing. I looked at the guys and I said, "You wonder why we're dropping in the ratings?"
Adorable. Justin, you were adorable.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God, that is
God.
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Ron's great.
Oh
But
man.
I thank you for this stuff. I mean,
Oh,
besides
man.
having sex with you, Alan, this today is really. Well, that was a long time ago. You were like.
Oh.
But this is running into you guys. I mean, seeing Beth and Frank and you, it's just so fantastic. I mean, it really is. I mean, I can't say enough about it. I can't. It's
You know, I think
it's a privilege. It's a privilege now that I had forgotten how deep it went, and how I don't thankful for it. And I hope that this right now stays with me for a long, long time.
Oh.
Because, I'm thankful for
Yeah.
there's such deep wells within the three faces I'm looking at here now, and it's just they give me so much and so brilliant in their own rights, and it's just
They
great.
really are.
Thank you, Al.
You're welcome, Justin. Fiona, before we go, talk about working with Michael Zaslow.
Wow. Oh, wow.
Roger and Jenna had a lot of stuff together.
Yes. Before I go into that very quickly, I do want to compliment Justin. One of the reasons why working with Justin was my favorite time. I've had, scenes with many a strong male actor, but never have I ever had as much fun as I've had with you, my friend. You're tremendously fun to be on camera with, because they write these scenes that are all lovey-dovey and mushy, and quite honestly they get, you can see too many of them and they become repetitive in a storyline. But I never worried about that, because you were always right on the edge of a twist, and that I absolutely loved. So thank you.
Hey, Fiona, you know what's really interesting about what you just said? I recently saw someone posted a scene with Justin and Michael Zaslow, and I couldn't believe it. Justin was trying to get some information out of Michael Zaslow and vice versa, and they were in the office, his office.
Yeah.
And Justin played him like a mouse, cat and mouse. It was brilliant, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, Michael, Justin was throwing so much stuff at him, and Michael was trying to digest it and listen to him and watch how he was doing this and carving his way through the scene, and that was just brilliant.
Yeah. They're different. Obviously, there are many different actors that come into the arena of daytime, and you come from different backgrounds and different trainings.
Yeah.
I was I really owe a great deal to Michael Zaslow, because I was in Los Angeles and I had left One Life to Live, and it was Michael who called me up and said, I really want you to come onto the show, onto Guiding Light, and I want, I'm pushing for a storyline. Will you do it? And at the time, I think I was about to have Hutch, or, it was a tricky time for me to say yes to moving back to the East Coast. But Michael really spearheaded the storyline and spearheaded the maneuver, or I suppose the situation, the contract, whatever, all the ins and outs. Michael orchestrated the whole thing. So I owe it to Michael Zaslow to even experience and have the joy of joining Guiding Light the first time round. Do you know what I mean? That was a tremendous ride for me. It was great fun.
That's awesome. And Beth, before we go as well, you're going to do this new podcast, Soap, Forever and a Day.
I had totally forgotten about that until you reminded me. Yes, for some foolish reason, yes, Casey Hutchison,
yep,
asked me to do her show, Forever and a Day. It's going to be a radio show. It takes place in Augusta, Illinois, I believe, and it's about 3 different families, and I play Melody Walters. obviously we can't shoot anything, so it'll be narrated and it'll be very much old style radio. And
It'll be like guiding light on the radio.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. And I was very hesitant. I don't even know if I can act anymore, to be honest. I'm probably going to get fired. But I just feel like I need an artistic outlet.
Yeah.
I need an outlet. I don't sing. I don't dance. I'm not an artist, so I need something to do that's a bit of an emotional outlet for me. So I'm very much looking forward to this. And I'm just so honored that she would ask me to do it.
Casey's. He's
okay.
Excited.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sorry. He's excited. And Justin, before we go, did you have a favorite story that you told at Guiding Light? Not of with these people, but a storyline, something that.
What do you mean though with these people?
No, I mean with these people, but not like behind the scenes with these people. I mean, yes, a story we told on the air, not a behind the scenes.
Oh, right. Not the true stuff.
Not the true stuff, even though the fans would love the true stuff.
I'm just trying to say,
It's I really have to think about that. I mean, I could just.
I know you tell so many. All of you tell so many stories. But I mean, they ended the Coopers in a great way.
I mean, the things sort of led themselves. I mean, you talk about Michael Zaslow. I remember seeing me and Fiona had with Michael Zaslow. He came in. I was, I guess, flirting in a restaurant with Fiona, and he said, "I think you're in my chair." And I got up and looked at the chair and handed him the chair. And he had a wonderful look on his face. They cut it because of his reaction. He said, "That's not his character." And I was going, "What?
Yeah.
That is his character." He was doing great. He just wasn't expecting it. So
I know. I remember that.
and you'd look at these guys and give them anything, and they send it back to you, and it's just they got richer and richer and richer and richer and richer. That's just,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you, the fans.
That's the blessing. Sorry, that's the blessing of working. That's why daytime is so great, because you're tuning your instrument every day, so you get looser and looser and more confident, and you feel comfortable making those choices and pushing the envelope, and that's why it's so gratifying as an actor. It's a great industry.
Yeah.
And
Justin, do you have
coming back from the coast, Beth, and you were going like, "Oh well, let's see about doing this again," and then just seeing you do exactly what you're saying, day after day after day after day after day, until you were like just like in charge of it,
Well, I grew up there. I was 19 when I started. I was a baby. I left 4 years later or something, and I grew up around all of you, and I learned from all of you. I mean, really, that's why I liked rehearsal hall. That's why I liked standing on the set when I actually wasn't in those scenes.
Yeah.
I was watching all these brilliant actors and trying to figure out my process. I had to develop a process. I never went to acting school. I didn't have any of that foundation. So I really had to figure out where do I find those tools, and how do they do that? How do you all do that stuff, and figure it out for myself? So I just grew up into it. You were my acting school. You guys really were. I was so blessed.
It's a bit like
Frank,
the old studio days, You have a group of actors, and then, they go off and do different films or whatever storylines were given. Yeah.
Frank, was that the same for you, what Beth just said about, learning while being there?
Oh, absolutely. Oh my God. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we were blessed with some incredible people, like Larry Gates. He played H.B. Lewis. I mean, Larry was just, these are classic.
Oh, right. And Fiona first started working with Bill Rourke.
Yeah, Bill Rourke.
I loved Bill.
I
loved Bill.
When you're in scenes with these people, and that's when I first started, with the Michael Zaslows, and I'm watching these guys, and I'm like, wow, they're unbelievable. They are class, and they are sophisticated, and they are performing, and I'm like, wow, this is awesome. It was awesome. So I was like a sponge. And then to be working with Beth and Justin on a daily basis like that, and then the Coopers, everything, you just keep pulling and pulling and pulling, and you know what? When you're in an environment like that, you can't help but just kind of it raises you.
And then your family friend Melina.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, how's Melina?
She's doing very well. She's out in LA, and she's doing writing now. But yeah, no, I was blessed with that whole situation and Jennifer Roselle. I mean, I had two Elaine's, and
Yeah, two Elena's.
so yeah,
Beth had two Alan Michaels.
And two mallets.
two mallets.
two mallets. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was, and Liz, Liz was a second Blake,
Yeah.
and you think when the first one leaves, you think, I am never going to be able to adjust to it, the new, and you adjust beautifully, and you just accept them when they come into that role and everything that they bring to it. And it's fun.
And Beth, before I forget, I don't know if you know, your daughter Bonnie had twins.
Oh my gosh.
Twins.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, my friend that I work with and at BPU had a baby yesterday. Stephanie. Hi, Stephanie. Congratulations.
Oh,
No baby yesterday.
And you talk about Brittany for a minute and Fiona, and then I'll let you all go. And Allison Janney is Ginger. I was watching you and
I
Ginger.
loved working with Allison Janney. Loved every second of it. She was hysterical from the day she stepped on that set.
Yeah,
and I remember saying, listen, this is such fun. What the hell are you doing here? You need to be somewhere else. And yeah, she was liquid gold for the first day she stepped on set.
Yeah, Ginger. And what about Brittany for you, Beth? Brittany Snow.
What I remember about Brittany is after she left, she came back to the show to visit this one time, and she said, there's a part of me that wants to come back to daytime, but they're offering me these roles in movies and stuff, and I don't know what I want to do. And I said, baby, once a door opens, it doesn't always open again. I know we had a lot of fun with you and we love you, but you need to go.
Yeah.
Time for you to go. That door is open and they want you.
She was a sweetheart. She was adorable.
She was wonderful.
Yeah, she was.
I loved little Brittany. She was such a real person.
Yep.
Just a delightful, so well raised, and just just a lovely, lovely girl.
Hey, Justin, you remember Aubrey? Aubrey Dollar played the first.
Loved Aubrey.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Played Marina, and then Mandy Bruno.
And Mandy wanted to partake in this, and sadly I can only fit 6 of us at one time, but Mandy sends her love to you all.
And Matt Bomer. Remember Matt Bomer?
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt Bomer.
Around that same time, loved Matt.
Matt was Jay Hammer's son, Fletcher's son.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
And Fiona, you worked with Beverly briefly, right? Beverly McKinsey?
Yes. I mean, the one thing about Guiding Light is that I don't think there was never an actor that walked on that set that wasn't of a caliber that if they didn't stay long, you knew they were going on to other great things. And if they did stay, it was because they were being catapulted into a major storyline. So, I mean, either way, you would win. Yeah. Because whoever you were working with, the casting at Guiding Light and the producers were very, very, very on target.
Yep.
Very on target.
Well, guys, I truly can't thank you enough for doing this today. I know the fans were looking forward to this so much.
Thank you so much, Alan.
Fun, Alan.
Alan, thank you for doing this. This really is Justin's right. This is a very special moment right here, and it's just so awesome seeing everybody's face right now all together. So thank you for the opportunity.
Well, I'm going to try and see Justin in North Carolina if I get down there this summer, depending on everything else going on in this world. But I normally go down to where he is, so hopefully.
So
I will put this into the atmosphere. There are quite a few new shows starting off that are being filmed differently. And one of them is called The New Norm. And I know of a few others that are cropping up. So I'm going to put this into the atmosphere. I hope I'm working with all of you together very soon in The New Norm.
Oh, my God.
That would be awesome. How great would that be? That would be incredible.
So fingers crossed.
Yep.
You guys stay here for 1 minute. I'm going to put you backstage as I just sign off from everybody else. But thank you to everybody who tuned in today. Thank you, guys.
And love to the fans. Thank you for always.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Always for
love
being
you. Miss you.
Bye-bye.
Don't go anywhere. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in today. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great night.